guessing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the live on this one. It's Monday, man, and this is what we call the Saints Monday After, man. Much love to the black and gold, the Saints Monday After. And it's a victorious Monday effort, and I shall clap for that. Let's give a round of applause for winning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will clap for winning. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this installment of the show. Y'all do me a service by hitting upon the like button, hit the subscribe button as we are up in this thing Monday, man. Not a long stream I'm going to go over with you guys. I have a very busy Monday to kind of go over. We have the game, the matchup later on in the tonight with the Pelicans against the Suns will be on PPR. That's Pelican post game final, PPR final tonight to recap that matchup as well. So for my Pels people who love the Pelicans, you can check out Pelican post game report. Sub up to that. We cover the Pels as well as LSU and boxing content. So shout out to all the numerous people that have been subscribing to all of our platforms. And we have several more platforms that will be coming online for the PRO Media Network or the TSC, the Sports Coma Network. So big ups to you guys in the stream. Let's go over and hit some of this stuff, man. The goodness that is. And anytime you have an opportunity to kind of get caught up in the goodness of what we experienced yesterday, which is actual winning, man, I'm all for it, you heard me? So anyway, man, in this matchup, man, the Saints took care of business, man, from almost start to finish. The first defensive series was the Carolina Panthers kind of marched the ball. Then Coach Staley made an ultimate adjustment that just really stopped the Panthers in their tracks for pretty much the rest of the game, except for one of the particular drives that they tried to reproduce what they did on the very first drive. And then, of course, they were shut down. Now, they had the Zebras got involved. They called some calls. They tried to get the Carolina Panthers marching. Then a turnover happened, and the Saints were able to get a fumble recovery that was given to, I think, one of the wide receivers on the end around. The guy went in motion. They tried to hand the ball. He wasn't expecting it. And ultimately, the Saints end up picking up the ball. I think it was Pete Werner who ended up retrieving the ball. So the Saints put up, just a double-digit win over the team. And they did some very positive things, man. So let's kind of look at this thing, man, and kind of recap it, if you don't mind. So anyway, this is what it looked like on the initial series that started it off. If you look at what happened with the team, the first possession was Rico Dowdle, actually, with this long possession. They ate up almost 8 minutes of the first quarter, 12 plays, 67 yards, 7 minutes, and Dowdle was able to get a 5-yard rush in there, and they got up 7-0. After that, it was completely over with. The Saints then on their next series, the next situation, they were able to have marched 10 plays, 78 yards, 507, and Blake Grupe kicked a 21-yard field goal, made it 7-3. Then the touchdown came in the second quarter. The Saints opened up with a terrific shot from Tyler Shough to Chris Olave, 62-yard pass, 7 plays, 75 yards for 357. Time of possession, 9:21 in the second. The Saints go up 10-7 for the first time in the game and did not give up the ball. Did not give up the lead. And pretty much that held all the way into the fourth quarter, where Tyler Shough found Juwan Johnson for a 30-yard pass. And the Saints really did their thing. That was at about 10 minutes and 20 seconds in the fourth. 5 plays, 43 yards, 234. Juwan Johnson catch and yak to get in a touchdown and really sealed the deal. Now, the Saints could have really punished this team even further, to be quite honest with you, fam. They could have really pushed past and scored 20-plus points on the Panthers. But instead, you seen what with Coach Kellen Moore did. He kind of laid up off of that thing, and the Saints were able to get the victory. So it was a very positive outing, period, for the Saints in the matchup. Now, they had some things to clean up in the matchup, but like I said, Tyler Shough broke some records and did very well in the matchup, 19 of 27 for 282, 2 touchdowns, a 65.0 QBR, and a rating of 128.9, which was awesome. Elvin Kamara had a rough day, but still in all, 22 carries for 83 yards, 4-yard average. He was a guy that the Saints made it an effort to just keep running the ball, and you could see that the attempts were toward the rushing attack, and that kind of was compounded toward the back of the game when Taysom Hill was given the ball, several times during one drive. And you can see the rush attempts 37 versus the pass attempts 28. And we know every time the Saints gain a certain amount of yards per game or meet that threshold, they always seem to win the game. So the Saints were able to get the win over this team. Now, Chris Olave is Chris Olave. This is who Chris Olave is. 5 catches, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. He had the 62-yard touchdown, but he was 5 out of 8 targets, averaged 21 yards per catch. Juwan Johnson, this is a $10 million tight end. This is what he looks like. 4 catches, 4 targets, 92 yards, 23-yard average, and a score. This is what he looks like. And it was basically Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson who were the main people in this game. Now, they had a few other people, 2 catches for Foster, 1 by Bailey, 1 by Zaire Mitchell, Payton, Devin Neal caught 3 of them. No real big production from anybody outside of Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson. Those are 2 of the most expensive players. We have Chris Olave's extension coming, Juwan at $10 million a year over the next 3 years, and they did their thing. Elvin was third with 3 for 32 yards off of 3 targets. So the offense, the big money guys, Olave, Juwan, those guys stepped up and they played a supreme game to help out Tyler Shough. And that's what we're going to need from the Saints. And this is what has been missing, to be quite honest with you guys, over the last several weeks, if we've not consistently had this type of commitment to excellence, a commitment to getting the job done. There were drops, fumbles, all this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, that's what it ended up being, right? But anyway, you see all the other stuff, Cam Jordan with the fumble situation, Pete Werner with the recovery. You can see right there, Demario Davis had 7 tackles in the matchup. Kool-Aid McKinstry 6, so did Pete Werner. And the Saints did a much better job in terms of tackling. Even certain analysts recognize the fact that if the Saints defense tackle, because they got veterans in key spots, whether it's Demario Davis or Pete Werner or Justin Reed, Alontae Taylor, these guys are not, rookies to the party. These guys are established NFL players, and they have to be able to make the play when it's in front of them, right? And we've seen them make that in this particular game. Cam Jordan had a sack. Nate Shepard, we've seen Nate Shepard struggle mightily during this season, but Nate Shepard had a blocked field goal. He had a sack. He had 2 tackles. Nate Shepard had his best game as a New Orleans Saints player. Let's just be honest. Nate Shepard, and like I said, I've been lighting him up, and rightfully so. A lot of players have been getting negative grades. But if you look at what Nate Shepard did in this game, the block field goal, the sack, he had by far his best performance of the season, probably as a Saint, to be quite honest with you guys. And then we had some positive stuff going on as well. Alante got the pick to go along with the fact that he was the fourth tackle on the team. So he had 5 total tackles in the pick. And Alante Taylor was coming in on the blitz. He was doing some stuff as well. So the Saints were getting after it, man. We had a Dante Pettis sighting. He had a kick return that's, for the Saints, a 31-yard kick return that gave them favorable field position for Dante Pettis. He was activated to do a lot of the punt return duties when guys like Rashid Shaheed being traded to Seattle. Kendre Miller was also a guy that they use sometimes in special teams help. Those guys are no longer, he's on the IR and Rashid's gone. So that's the thing. Blake Grupe, 1 field goal. All he had to kick and relied on. Kai Kroger, 4 points for 177 yards. But the Saints offense and the Saints defense came alive. The Saints offense scored 2 touchdowns. The Saints defense slammed Carolina down. And this is very positive. Now, let's kind of move into this article. And shout out to the NOLA.com. They penned a really good article I wanted to share you was Matt Perez, who is just Matt Perez. Keep doing great work, man. I love reading his stuff. He do a really good job of laying out stuff. Shout out to Matt Perez. The Tyler Shough delivers and shows notable growth in the Saints upset win over the Panthers. Kellen Moore delivered the ball or the play call over his headset and said nothing else to Tyler Shough. There was no need. It was 3rd and 12 late in Sunday's game against Carolina, and the Saints coach and their rookie quarterback understood what was on the line. After Moore notably took the ball out of his quarterback hands for the previous few third downs, the moment called for an obvious passing situation with the Saints trying to preserve a lead. It was time for the Saints to truly see what they had in the 26-year-old. No motivational speech, no encouragement, just execute the call. Quote, Kellen knew the importance of finishing that drive, Shough said. My mindset is I'm always going to be aggressive. So Shough got aggressive. As the 2nd-round pick scanned the field, Shough immediately realized the high-low concept the play intended for wasn't there. But as the pocket collapsed and he drifted to his left, Shough saw tight end Juwan Johnson, the last player in the quarterback's progression, break off from his man. The quarterback let it fly. The result was a touchdown because Juwan Johnson ultimately he did the work because Juwan had to turn and go upfield and get to it. So it was a catch, then yards after catch. So credit Juwan for catching the ball and not allowing himself to be caught and until he made it a play, he was going to get in that end zone. So Shough hit Johnson for 30 yards to score to seal New Orleans 17-7 win over the Panthers, earning New Orleans' 2nd victory of the season and the team's first win with Shough under center. The Saints now enter the bye week at 2-8, and for the first time all season, the Saints played true complementary football. The defense shut down the league's hottest running back, Enrico Dowdle, and forced 2 turnovers. The offensive line and the Saints running backs imposed physicality up front that allowed the black and gold to run out the final 7:35 of the game clock. It's very important to realize Rico Dowdle was tearing people up. He was running and the Saints shut him down. That's right. The same Saints defense that gave up 120 something odd yards, 200 something odd yards. They said, to hell with that. We're going to play like true professionals and we're going to go out here and we're going to handle business. And they handled it. This is the type of stuff that I've been talking about all season long, knowing that this team is capable of this. And that is why I was so frustrated because I was like, man, these are the veterans. Our veterans know what to do. They know how to win. They know how to play. We needed them to get up on this level and play like this. We know you guys are capable of it. This is what we want you to do. Play at this level. Play with this amount of ferocity. Play with this integrity. Play with this and handle business. And they handled business, man. They really did. All right, to the rest of it, but as little marred more than Shough. He was always going to be the main focus over the back half of the Saints season. The Saints had to find out whether he could be a franchise quarterback or whether he'd be better off using what he likely be a pick in the draft on another signal caller. Beating the Panthers, who are 5-5, may not provide a definite answer to the question, but Shough's outing of 282 yards for 2 touchdowns on 9 of 27 passing was impressive. It was impressive for a rookie guy to come in there in his second start and be able to do it, or, his second start. Tyler took an awesome step in his second stint. He has been playing well. That's really encouraging. The most encouraging aspects of Shough's performance might have been what he was able to do on third down. an area that has been a lost cause for the Saints in most of this season, particularly outside the short yardage situations. Against Carolina, Shough went 7 of 10 for 201 yards on third down with both of his touchdowns. He converted even on plays that appeared to be dead on arrival, such as when he danced around the oncoming pass rush to find Jawaan for a 52-yard strike on the opening drive. Now, Shough's willings to push the ball downfield helped the Saints offset what the team lost days early at the trade deadline by sending Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks and guard Trevin Penning to the Chargers. One of the more pressing questions regarding the Saints is whether the moves will hurt the quarterback's chances of developing. But the Saints felt confident they had enough talent to get a fair evaluation of Shough, and that looked to be the case on Sunday. It helps, for instance, to still have Chris Olave with 9:21 on the clock in a second. Shough saw a streaking Olave on a one-on-one coverage against J.C. Horn down the sideline and ripped off a pass that traveled 55.6 yards through the air. Olave out-muscled Horn to complete the catch, proceeding to take it to the house for a 62-yard score and a 10-7 lead, their first in a game since week 6. The touchdown was rewarding for Olave, who suffered a season-ending concussion just a year ago in that damn building. But it was also said a lot about Tyler Shough. Not only did his throw demonstrate his aggression, but it also showed what he can do with a clean pocket. For most of the afternoon, Shough was under duress and navigated hectic pockets with the Saints deploying 3 backup offensive linemen. The rookie quarterback slipped and weaved through traffic, taking only 2 sacks. In a way, however, Shough's ability to handle Carolina's pressure was also a sign of growth. In training camp, the 26-year-old looked a step slow when tasked with diagnosing those blitzes. While that could be expected of most rookies, it was one of the reasons that Shough wasn't named the starter out of the gate, with Rattler winning the summer quarterback competition. But over the course of the season, Shough improved, and his coaches and teammates saw it. Each week on the scout team, Shough would be asked to handle planned blitzes and pressures that defensive coordinator Brandon Staley would scheme up for the upcoming game. And although Shough wasn't running the Saints' exact playbook in the setting, the chaos created on these plays makes Shough comfortable facing the speed of an NFL pass rush, right? I've been watching him closely, trying to see what type of quarterback he is, says Olave, who excels in the scramble drill. Added Johnson, people don't realize how athletic he is. It was encouraging for the Saints that Shough seemed to take lessons from the first start. A beat down from the Rams just a week ago, and unlike last week, the quarterback also received considerable support from his teammates. The defense never appeared to get phased, even when the unit seemed headed for another long day after Demario Davis intercepted, wiped out by a penalty, and Carolina went on to score on the opening drive. The Saints also responded. There was Pete Warner's fumble recovery just 2 plays after the officials ruled the Panthers recovered blocked field goal that New Orleans accidentally touched once the ball hit the ground. There was also cornerback Alontae Taylor's interception, which set up Shough's pivotal game-sealing drive. Afterwards, Shough nodded his head when it was pointed out that he was the Saints' first rookie quarterback to win a start since 1981. I think it was Archie Manning, right? Shough said it was actually Dave Wilson. Reported correctly quickly, but it's okay if Shough doesn't know the exact history of the Saints. As long as he keeps this up, he'll be around a long time to learn. Shout out to Matt Paris with the article. Well done, and it did catalog a lot of good information here. The Saints had several really good situations that I want to kind of talk about in this game as we break this down. Let me go over, family. Y'all hit that like button for me as we keep this thing going, man. I'm not going to hold you long in the broadcast, but I want to be able to share to you guys another article right quick. But first, we're going to do the 10 keys or what I would call the what is it? I want a positive title to it. 10 positive things, right? It's 10 positive things about the New Orleans Saints win that I wanted to kind of talk to the family about. 10 positive things, and then give 5 things to kind of improve after the bye week, right? So let me kind of start with number 1. We ended a losing streak, right? Ending a losing streak. The win broke a 4-game skid. I think it was a 4-game skid. It was a lot of losing that stopped in the negative momentum and provided a much needed boost, a morale boost, to be honest with you, for the family base. We really needed to see that after seeing sometime, it's been a while of us just watching pretty bad football. And we knew, and that's the frustrating part about being able to understand what your team is about, watching them through training camp, knowing what the team could do. We just watched the Saints just drop passes, fumble, miss blocks. And I'm like, man, these guys are better than this. We're better than this. They're playing. We got to lock in. We got to focus. And it came all together for Carolina. Both the offense arrived, the defense arrived. Now, even though they put up 2 touchdowns, that says a lot. The Saints struggled the last 2 games. The Saints struggled mightily. Offense scored 13 points over the last 2 games. So to put 14 up in a win over against Carolina, who's a plus 500 team, is a good deal. Carolina was sitting in second place, and in their building, where they're also pretty good at, go in there and beat them by double digits, 17-7, is a very positive thing for the Saints. And yes, it was we break the 4-game losing streak, and we feel good going into the bye week because you know who you got coming out of the bye. That is big for not only the team, but the morale of the team and of the family base, the support base that knew this team was better than what it's exhibiting and needed them to step up. Did they turn a corner? We don't know. We have to see what the next game looks like against the Atlanta Falcons. But this is going to be interesting. Number 2, it's the first win, the first road win for the Saints, right? We know that's the case. So that's a positive. We only got 2 wins. The other one was in the dome, and this is our first road win of the season. And like they say, it's tough to win on the road. So for the Saints to get a double-digit win on the road in a building where the adversary and it's a division rival plays well is really a good thing. Trust me on that. So securing the first road victory of the season, the critical step for the team, a team that's struggling with consistency performance away from home gets one on the road. That's big. Number 3, rookie quarterback growth. Tyler Shough first win as a starter is a major milestone, showing his progress and his potential for the future despite recent struggles. And of course, not only the fact that he gets the first win as a rookie, but also he has the franchise record breaking it. I wasn't even aware of 200 something odd, 82 yards was a franchise record, for a quarterback and a win for them. So he did some positive stuff. And anytime you can get in the record books with your win, it's also very positive. Number 4, big passing plays, right? The ability to execute long yardage passing plays like Shough's touchdown of 62 yards. And then, of course, he had the 30-yard one he threw for the 50-yarder early in the game to, down the field to get the offense down there. The offense capability to generate those quick strikes is what we need. And not only that, but the explosive plays to get downfield to demoralize our adversaries was a very positive situation for our quarterback, right? And understanding what he's capable of, understanding that Tyler Shough is a guy with a big arm. His greatest attribute is the fact that he has a live arm and he can send it, he can get it downfield. That's what we need to get him more involved in. And it makes life fun for the offense. When explosive plays happen, you just see the energy just pulls out of the rival, out of your adversary, and the team just like everybody, that circulates through your defense and all that. So let's hope they study that. And Kellen Moore understands not so much the east-west stuff, start getting vertical. Get more of these vertical patterns, going down and stretching the defense and allow Elvin to operate, and getting Devin Neal involved too. Devin Neal needs more carries, and Elvin should be used more of a wide receiver now that Rashid Shaheed's not there. We need to use him like that, right? So that was very positive. The big passing plays. Number 5, Chris Olave's redemption, right? We know that. Olave's standout performance, it was highlighted by the touchdown reception. It offers a sign of renewed confidence for the receiver, particularly at a stadium where he previously struggled and also had some impact with the injury. So that's also something to kind of be taken back by, how the fact that Olave turned a stress situation into a positive. He converted something that happened to him that was negative into his biggest game of the season. That's how you do it. We know Chris Olave, not only just the touchdown catch, but Olave, the catch along the sideline, the tiptoes. That is the Olave, man. That's the guy that makes these fantastic catches that we love. You know, the catches, the one like he tapped it to himself against Atlanta, the one against Green Bay. Those we can build a reel of highlight style one hand catches from Chris Olave. This is who we love and know. And this is the guy we want to see play every Sunday. He's the big guy. He's the guy. So with the focal point of the offense being told to him because Rashid's gone, he excelled in that role and was basically two guys really moving the offense in big numbers. That was Jawan Johnson and Chris Olave. So those brothers did really well, and that's how you do it. Number 6, dominant second half defense, shutting out the Panthers in the second half is a sign of strong defense, adjustments, and execution, showcasing the defense's ability to close out the games. The one series that occurred. The first series, the first drive of the game by the Carolina Panthers, when they marched the length of the field, and that was it. Brandon Staley said, okay, I see what y'all going to do, and turn it off so they didn't get any more to drink or nothing. And after that, it was over with. And when I seen the third drive, I say, fam, listen, the Saints have figured out what Dave Canellis' offense is and what they're doing. He figured them out. The Saints started to get pressure on the quarterback. They started sending Alontae Taylor in there. They started showing Bryce coverages, mixing up the coverages on him, and it had a direct impact. And then number one crucial thing they did was shut the damn running game down. Because in order for you to have success against Carolina, Rico Dowdle was a guy that was having success against a lot of people. The Saints shut him off and put all the pressure on Bryce Young. He could not carry the weight. So, you know, they picked him off. They knocked him around. You did stuff. And they even beat the Zebras in the game. So the Saints, regardless, they were going to get the win. And they were fighting hard. And they secured the win. So the defense did a wonderful job closing out the Carolina Panthers. Number 7, the defensive line pressure. Consistent pressure on the quarterback, including sacks from Cam and Nate Shepard. They disrupted the opposing offense and showcased the defensive line's strength. And I think DeMario had a pick, but the Saints were getting pressure on him and they were handling the business and the defense. Not only just the pressure, but they shut, like I said, the running attack was huge. When they took the Carolina Panthers, turned their running attack off and one-dimensionalized them and put everything on Bryce Young, they could not carry the day. Number 8, notable milestones for Cam Jordan. 125th career sack is a personal achievement and adds to the defense overall success and highlights the continued strong play of the veteran. Now, he's been struggling over the last couple of games, but when you seen Cam get the sack and did his levels dance when he puts one hand over the other, I have not seen that from Cam since early in the season, but it's good to see him get a sack. Maybe that can get him going. And Carl Granderson, we need Carl Granderson. We've been missing lately. Carl Granderson kind of missing. We're going to need Carl to reappear going on after this bye week, right? Number 9, opportunistic defense. Alontae Taylor, key interception in the fourth quarter shows the defense's ability to create turnovers in critical moments, helping to secure the win. Now, originally, if you go back and study the play, tomorrow we'll have the Patreon up for the family members, and I'm going to show y'all. It was a play that happened with Alontae Taylor where he was going to blitz at first. He was showing blitz, and you can see Bryce Young looked at him. He looked at him and then took his eyes away from him, did not look again, did not get a double look. But what Alontae did was he was looked like he was going to blitz and then backed up and went into coverage. And when Bryce Young turned to throw, he didn't see him over there and threw it right to him. And Alontae was right on the ball, picked the ball off and secured it. So that was big for Alontae Taylor, and also smart to recognize that number. And then the final top thing, one of the top things are really terrific. is the game clinching drive. The offense's ability to score a touchdown and take the two possession lead in the game shows the offense can execute and finish, which is what matters most. So this win is different than a Giants win because the Giants were so inept and so Three Stooge level. By the way, their head coach Brian DeBall was fired today at the 2-8 start in his fourth season, and Mike Kafka, who was a guy we were interviewing, Mike Kafka is named as the interim head coach. But the Giants team, they should have fired him last year. But the Giants team was so inept, they were fumbling, stumbling, and bumbling. Jackson Dart just dropped the ball in front of, I think it was Cam Jordan who got the recovery. They were just horrible. This game was different. We didn't, because you had a team more error prone than you and you were able to beat them. But this time around, there was none of that. It was just really smart, hardcore football. It wasn't perfect. But it was smart football where the Saints made adjustments in the game and took it away. This wasn't a bottom feeding team. This is the second best team in the NFC in the NFC South, and we were dealing with this team. They were plus 500. They were playing good ball, and we beat them in their building by 10. That says a lot. All right. So with that being said, let's talk about 5 things that they need to improve going into the bye week. Just 5 things going into it, right? 5 things. Number 1, offensive line stability. Now, despite the fact that Tyler Shough was sacked twice, his athletic ability got him out at least 2 more sacks. If you look at the play, the one where he threw it to Juwan Johnson was a play where the offensive line wrapped around him and collapsed. He was able athletically to get out, and it was such a big play. And sometimes you gotta remember that even though Shough is a rookie, he's 26 years old. It's a bit different than a guy that's 21 or whatnot. The maturity level, the understanding level of it, at some point it kicks in, right? So he's really mature for his age, his size, and his athletic gifts. He was still able to see downfield, keep his eyes downfield to make the throw on time to Juwan Johnson and give him a shot. That's big. The offensive line stability is a problem. Now we traded Penning, who was the starting left guard. Dylan Reduns is there. The right tackle position with Tali Fuaga is out with a high ankle sprain, was Asim Richards, right? Mixed bag on some of these guys. Dylan Reduns did a little bit better than Asim Richards. And then you have a center for Eric McCoy, who's hurt for the rest of the year, and Luke Fortner, who's actually doing a decent job. Luke Fortner is actually doing better than I anticipated he would do based on film that I studied when he was with the Jacksonville team. So he's actually doing better than what I thought he would do. But the offensive line has been a weakness due to several injuries in the recent trade. They need to use the bye week to build continuity and improve protection for their rookie quarterback. No doubt about it. If you got to use a 6 offensive lineman, we've seen that in the game for the Saints. That needs to be something that we can kind of continue to do to provide opportunities. But Tyler Shough is athletic. His wheels, he'll get off, he'll go. They don't understand. This is a dual quarterback. This is not a pocket guy. They're just standing there. He can deliver from the pocket with the big arm. But Tyler Shough also have a pair of wheels, and he can move. He'll shock you. He can actually move. The big guy can move. Number 2, offensive consistency. Despite the big plays, the offense was not consistent through the game. We had a couple of strikes, but we could have did better, right? The team needs to sustain drives better and avoid putting pressure back on the defense, right? So building off, or on rather, what we did is key to everything, right? We got to continue to build and build and build and build. That's what it comes down to. We got to continue to build. Build on top of the foundation of what we've seen in this game against Carolina. If we can do that, we will be fine going forward. The Saints are how they are and what they are because of what we've seen. Number 3, red zone efficiency. The Saints had missed an opportunity in the third quarter after a fumble recovery. Improving red zone execution is critical for turning promising drives into touchdowns. That's something we got to look for. Red zone efficiency. Saints had a missed opportunity in that third quarter. We got to do better in the red zone, right? We got to figure that out. We have to be able to figure out the fact that we need another player. Now they're going to be looking at doubling Chris Olave. Jawan Johnson is going to be subject of defensive scrutiny. So we have to get Taysom Hill. We're going to have to get other people involved. I applaud what Kellen Moore did. He set Jake Stahl's ass down, blowing blocks, and he activating Payton, the new tight end that we picked off the team from Baltimore. He got a catch in there, so it's good for him doing that. Saying we need to get some other players in this offense and see what they can do. So he's adding extra players. That is what we need to do to find somebody that can galvanize with the quarterback, right? So finding that extra guy and adding him to the offense. Devon Valley needs to be finding a role with this team. He needs to find a role for Devon Valley moving forward. And if he can be added as a complement to Chris Olave, a big 6'5" threat on the opposite side, and we figure out this red zone stuff, maybe there should be a package that we put with Matavo. If we could have Matavo in the game, a 6'8", 7-round, this is 7-round draft pick tight end from UCLA. If we can get him in the game on these third down packages, he's 6'8". Tyler Shough can just roll to his side and throw the ball up. There's no cornerback or linebacker that can guard that guy. So we need to consider being smart of what packages we have so we can add and improve upon our red zone efficiency. Number 4, or deficiency rather. Number 4, limiting penalties. Costly penalties such as one that negated the Demario Davis interception, disrupted momentum. The team needs to minimize these mistakes and miscues going forward. We make a lot of mistakes. We got 60-plus penalties, and that's what happens when your team is 2-8 now. When your team is bad like that, it's usually because you're not disciplined. You got a lot of stupid stuff going on. You got a lot of pre-snap penalties and miscues, and you're an error-prone football team. You shoot yourself in the foot a lot. If we can negate this stuff and get smarter with it, or at least cut it in half, it'll open them up for more wins and maybe finish respectfully, right? Or respectfully. Number 5, the final key here. Defensive consistency is needed. While the defense had a dominant second half, they show really not just the second half. It was really the first drive, after the first drive Carolina had all the way to the end of the game. Almost a full game by the Saints. They played really well. So that is also something we have to watch out for. We need more consistency. Include missed tackles. The focus should be on maintaining high intensity and execution for 4 quarters. The missed tackles, just understanding where we need to be at this point. We're at the bye week. This is week 11. You have so much film, and you should have an idea. If you're a person that's getting a lot of reps, offense, defense, special teams, on what your job is, you should know what the hell you need to do to keep this stuff twisting and turning. So that's some of the stuff to talk about. That's my top 10 keys to something that was positive things that happened for the Saints, and my 5 keys going into the bye week that we need to work on coming out of the bye week, right? Just something to think about. All right, and also let me share this article with you guys right here. This is an article I want to share with you guys here about what Carolina said about us. Poor week of practice led to the Panthers flop against the Saints. So it's just poor practice, not the Saints' execution. This is coming by way of the one of the Charlotte beat writers from ESPN. It says Ike, who is the left tackle, Ike Ekwonu, saw signs in practice that Carolina weren't going to be sharp Sunday. Too many repeat plays, players weren't locked in, small details, not enough. It was noticeable that Dave Cannella spoke to the team about it, not once, but multiple times. On Sunday, the poor preparation turned into an embarrassing loss to the Saints, right? That entered with 1 in 9 games. It came a week after the Panthers upset the Green Bay Packers, who were 5-2-1 at Lambeau Field. Sunday put Carolina's hopes of making a playoff run for the first time since 2017 in grave jeopardy, in part because it was on a home loss, in part because it was an FC soft loss, and largely because it was a bad Saints team. This is them writing about you. They entered the day tied with Tennessee Titans for the worst record in the NFL. Talking about us, right? You can't get days back, Icky says. If you have a bad day on Thursday, tough day on Friday, whatever you can't always look forward to, but you can get that day back. So that preparation, a lack thereof, is going to add up. Unfortunately, it just cultivated into what we saw. Bryce Young knew it. The frustration, agitation could be heard in his voice. He spent much of his news conference owning the dysfunction. His interception with over 12 minutes remaining was his most visible. His badly missed wide receiver Ted McMillan throw, when they were trailing by 3, that led to New Orleans touchdown, and it went downhill from there. And then it goes and it talks about Panthers did little things right. A 7-0 lead on the opening possession with 5-yard rush by Rico Dotto after being fined $14,000 last week for his pelvic hip thrust celebration. Dotto had a laugh by doing 0 pumps, right? But that was the end of the fun, which 128 yards of total offense after the 67-yard drive. Everybody saw the thing we saw, missed opportunities. Dotto, who entered the game as the league's third leading rusher, was limited to 53 yards on 8 carries, which is less than 3 yards per run, by ninth worst rush defense, right? Yep. So the missed opportunities and lack of execution. Canales took much of the blame. We need better execution. Anyway, I'm not going to bore y'all with all of the stuff here. You can go back and you can read this writer's article. It's on ESPN on the Panther side of it. All I'm adding to this particular conversation is the fact that this Carolina Panther family, and a lot of them listen to the stream. Let me tell you guys something. It wasn't just the fact that you guys were out there not taking it seriously. Yeah, y'all beat a Green Bay Packer team. That's very respectable. But what it was is you overlooked the Saints. It wasn't, they didn't do no execution, all this kind of stuff, because the Saints, it wasn't the fact that you was just so bad. The Saints really did that to you. The Saints really handled you like that. Maybe you overexerted for the Green Bay game and overlooked the Saints because y'all top rival is Atlanta. So what it was it was a trap game. They thought us going into Carolina with a 1-7 or 1-8 record or whatever it was, and we're going to lose the matchup. What ended up happening was the Saints came to play and you didn't. I won't even say y'all guys didn't come to play. Y'all actually came to play, but they wanted it more. You came to play because that first drive, you guys, Mark, you took up half the first quarter and scored that touchdown, and y'all handled the business. It was in a game of adjustments. When the Saints made the adjustment to what you guys had going on through the week, you didn't have a adjustment for their adjustments. You didn't have a fallback option if we took Rico Dowdle from you. If we took Chupa Hubbard from you. That's the game plan. Would to take the running attack away from you and blitz Bryce. Show him different looks. Like when we seen Alante Taylor was showing blitz and then Alante dropped back into coverage in the passing lane where Bryce already had it on his mind where he was going to go, and he was there. The Saints outplayed you. It wasn't the fact that you guys went out there and laid it down. The Saints just went out there. They outperformed you. And you guys had the referees trying to help you, and the Saints went past the referees and says, "Nah, we're going to win this game." So this is the thing. The Saints were out there shutting you off. It wasn't the fact that you just stopped running the ball. You guys were doing the same thing you were doing the first possession. It just, they adjusted. You did not. So it wasn't the fact that you didn't execute. Now, Bryce had some throws where he threw it to Ted McMillan and was behind him slightly, all this kind of stuff. They were difficult throws nonetheless, but your number one wide receiver got to catch that ball. That hit him in his hand. He had to adjust for it. Yes, the difficulty was for the catch was, kind of high. It was a bad throw, but it hit him in his hands. He was still supposed to catch that ball. You see what I'm saying? And the reality at the end of the day is the Saints you didn't give the Saints anything. The Saints took it from you. You overlooked the Saints to a degree, but at the same time, you guys played, you just got outplayed in this game. That's the bottom line. You got outplayed in this game. And it could have been a trap game of sorts. It had to be because you took it from Green Bay. Y'all next matchup is against Atlanta. That's Carolina's number one enemy and rival is the Atlanta Falcons. They don't like the Falcons. So it was definitely a trap game with a 1-8 team going up against them, and they're looking past you. But that's not on us. They actually came out that first drive and was trying to play. They were showing up. They had an extremely good drive. It wasn't y'all sucked for the whole game. It was the fact that the Saints stopped you. It turned the spigot off, and you had no adjustment for that. That's what happened in this game. It happens to the best. It happens to some of the better teams. Buffalo got beat in Miami. Buffalo struggles in Miami. Not Buffalo. Was it Buffalo? I think it was Buffalo. Didn't they lose in Miami? It happens, man. But at the same time, the Saints wanted it more. They wanted it more. They came prepared. You guys had a plan. You did some positive stuff until you couldn't do it. And that's just how it ended up. But anyway, fam, listen, that's going to be what it is. Listen, shout out to all you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. This is the Saints Monday after show. Saints took care of business against the Carolina Panthers. And man, listen, they're 2-8 going into the bye week. This upcoming Sunday, the Panthers face the Falcons. And if the Falcons lost, Panthers lost, and the Bucks lost. So, all three teams in the NFC South lost except for the Saints, right? So we'll rest, and after the bye, we'll face the Falcons. But the Falcons have a matchup against the Carolina Panthers, and this will be interesting here because if the Falcons do not win this game against Carolina, right? And we know Carolina beat the Falcons early this year, 30-0. So if the Falcons don't win this game, what's going to end up happening is that the Falcons is going to come into the game with the Saints with their 3-7. They lose, they be 3-8, and the Saints play them, right, and beat them and be 3-8. That'll drop them to the bottom of the division. Wouldn't that be crazy? So anyway, with that being said, man, I ain't going to even go that far. I'm just going to enjoy the win. Y'all guys enjoy the win. And we're going to enjoy the bye week, man. No doubt about it. The Saints did a good job in this game. We haven't seen too many wins and really good performance. This is by far the best performance of the season right now. How they were able to do it, man, in hostile terrain and down. They just traded 2 players and they still got it done, man. So in the end, we just got to keep on building upon what we're doing here. Very positive. So anyway, with that being said, shout out, salute to the Who Dat Nation, the Great Saint Think Tank. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and listen. If you guys are subscribers, make sure you check your buttons. We've been getting a lot of information that people listening to the Coma and they aren't subscribed. So do us a favor and make sure you check your subscribe button. If it's not lit up or it's not saying subscribe, press it right now for me, dog. It'll be, I promise you won't blow up. Your phone won't blow up. It'll be, and it won't cost you $100 to do it. It's free. And hit that button. So anyway, with that being said, man, I'm going to get on up out of here. Shout out to the Pelican faithful tonight at 8 o'clock. These live scoreboard goes up. The Pelicans will play the Suns tonight, and we'll have PPR recap of this game tonight at 10 o'clock or 10:30, whatever to call this. But you can check it out on PPR or the Pelican Post Game Report channel. With that being said, man, appreciate y'all for being in the stream. And I'm going to holler at you on Tuesday for my Patreon family members. We'll go over the tape for the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. We'll go over it and see a lot of the positives, man. It's going to be a good tape film work session this episode of Patreon. Shout out to the new members that's joining the Patreon, man, of the YouTube side of it. For my Patreon people, there'll be some more documentaries that I'm putting up for the family members on that side and the film work as well. It's different over there. With that being said, I'm out. I'm going to see y'all later. Much love. Peace.
Like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're
listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the WhoDatDaily.com, your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or